Hello everyone, Kerbin here, and welcome to a redstone challenge video. The challenge was originally put out by Mumbo. He's a great YouTuber. I'll put his link down in the description and link to his video, along with a card on screen if I remember. So this is what I've done, with the dimensions of the circuitry being 6 wide by 17 high by 16 long, minus the input of the light blue wool circuitry down the bottom here. It is incredibly compact, and a tiny bit of the circuitry is completely free of air blocks. Now, since there's no quasi-connectivity, I'd have had to do quite a bit more stuff with the top pistons up here, but that wasn't really a problem. However, there will be some spazzing out of the pistons when they retract, as you can see there. But other than that, I think I've done a pretty good job. So let's look at the circuitry. So here it is, with all the quartz blocks removed. So if we flick this lever here, we can see the opening and the closing. Now the reason that those pistons go crazy at the start, or the opening, is because I've had to wire in a bit of stuff up the top here, and it's feeding into the input below. Now there is absolutely no way I could have changed that, but that's really the only setback with this. As you can see, it functions quite perfectly. Now there is a problem if you flick the lever too frequently. So if I speed up the pace at which I flick the lever, I mean, it's still doing pretty well. There we go. Yep, it broke. So basically the rule of thumb is either hook in the input to a pulse extender or just don't go crazy with the lever. Otherwise, this stuff will happen. Oh, and before I forget, this is how you fix it. So you just want to put the piston back where it was, put the iron block there, and for the top here, if this does that, literally just break and replace. And that's it. That would have fixed itself on its own, but if that happens, don't freak out. Anyway, let's go on to the circuitry. Let's start with the light blue circuit. Okay, so your light blue circuit is the input circuit. So I've got a redstone torch here, goes into redstone, into a repeater, and the real circuitry starts here. Now, both these circuits are entirely identical, so I will only be covering one of them. So let's get started. So we've got a repeater here, on one tick, running into a block, redstone on top of that, block up, and a block up like that, redstone on top of all of that. This block and this redstone is powering both these pistons, but it does not power this piston because of the lack of quasi-connectivity. So we have to keep pillaring up like this. So pretty sure you can figure out how to do it there. Just pillar up, and that is the last block. That's the fifth piston and the last piston in that relay. And what you want to do is come out with slabs so you don't cut off the redstone signal, up like this in a sort of L shape to avoid that circuitry. Then you want to go up like this, up, 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 keep going up, and when you reach the top here, this should be in line. This block should be in line with this redstone here. So we're going to put 3 blocks like that, redstone, redstone, and repeater on one tick, then a block up like that, and redstone on top of that, and redstone on top of the 4th piston here. That redstone will go down into this piston here, which powers it and puts the furnace down here, which powers a comparator, which does the extension of this piston here. The reason I don't have redstone running on top of this is because otherwise it would power these two sticky pistons here. Now the light green circuit is a falling edge monostable part of the circuit that will be controlling the extension and mostly the retraction of all of the pistons. The orange circuit is controlling the retraction as well, except when it comes to the part extension of this set right here, as you can see right there. Now the only other circuits that control the extension of the pistons are the blue circuit and the purple circuit. The dark blue circuit is controlled by this block right here, which goes into a repeater on one tick. And if I hop around the other side, oops, let me get back to that slab. There we go. Yeah, so it goes into this repeater here on one tick, into a block with a redstone torch there. This goes into an observer, which goes into a block, which powers this piston right here. Now, that repeater also goes into this torch here, which goes into this block here. There's another torch with a repeater here on 4 ticks. If I get out of this maze, there we go. So 4 ticks on top of a block, goes into another block with a redstone torch right there, which goes into a block, redstone torch, then a block, then a repeater on one tick here, and a repeater on one tick here, which goes into this single redstone dust. Now this dust is controlling the extension of the piston that holds the secondary block here. So if we go for the opening, so it has that block, this secondary block here. So if we close, it holds this block here. Now the orange circuit is interesting because it is, instead of a falling edge monostable circuit, it is an inverted falling edge monostable circuit. And now if I can simulate an opening of the door with this, there we go. So it's inverted. It doesn't turn on at the end of the pulse, it turns off at the end of the pulse. Now what this does is it goes up from this light green circuit here into a redstone torch, into a block with a repeater going this way on 4 ticks, which goes into a block which has that 4 tick repeater from the dark blue circuit on it. Then you want to go down 2 more blocks like this with repeaters on 4 ticks each. That goes into an observer which powers the retraction. No, it doesn't. It powers this redstone lamp right here, which powers this observer, which powers the end retraction of this piston right here. So if I can display that, there we go. So you saw right there, that's what it does. So the orange circuit also goes into one repeater here on one tick, into a block, redstone torch, and a block. Then it goes into a repeater on 3 ticks, which goes into an observer right there, which powers the first extension of this double piston extender right here. Now I forgot to mention that this light green circuit also powers this redstone torch right here, which goes into a block, which powers this redstone torch right here, which powers this repeater on one tick, which goes into this block right here, which, what does this power? Oh, it powers this piston right here. Oh man, So the remainder of the orange circuit goes into the last part of the light green circuit. So you want 2 blocks with redstone on top of them. This redstone is also being powered by the first redstone torch coming in from the dark blue circuit. This redstone feeds into a piston with a furnace on top with a non-stackable item in it, which goes into a comparator with a block, 2 blocks up here like that, 1 block down, redstone on top of all of them, which goes into a piston with furnace with any old item in it, and that goes into comparator, which powers this piston right here. Now you may remember that this is also the piston that is powered by this light blue wool circuit. However, that is the problem I was talking about. Since in Pocket Edition and Windows 10 Edition, the redstone curls into pistons rather than going straight on, there is absolutely no way I can wire this any differently, because this dark green circuit is powering the second retraction for this double piston extender here. There is no other way I could wire it because of how tight it is. So that's it for the dark green circuit and the orange circuit. Now let's move on to the rest of them. Okay, next on the list is a cyan circuit. It is responsible for powering this double extension here up above the double extender with the extra block down here. Now the way you wire it is simple. You put cyan block right there, or any block really. It is going to be receiving the output from the dark blue circuit right here. It will be going into a block here, which will be powering this piston right here. Redstone up like that to make the repeater here realize that this redstone is actually going into this block. I don't know why. Minor inconvenience, but whatever. So redstone repeater there on 1 tick. Then it also goes back here. So block there, redstone block here with redstone there. Now, this is not how it's supposed to be, but this redstone also curls into this comparator, as it should, but it shouldn't for this contraption. But it doesn't really matter. Now this goes into a repeater here, set on 4 ticks, which is powering this piston right here. It assists with the retraction due to Minecraft Pocket Edition timings. Okay, and now we're going on to by far the simplest circuit in this contraption. So to wire it up, you're going to need the input from the light blue circuit, which goes into a repeater on 1 tick. That goes into a block with redstone on top of that. That is going to be powering the pistons at the front here. These are the single piston extenders. They're the most simple ones. But to do the double extension, you're going to need, out of this block here, you're going to need to have a repeater on 2 ticks going into this block. This is going to be powering this redstone dust here, and this block here, which is going to be keeping these pistons here powered for the double extension. Now, coming out of this block, which is being powered by this redstone dust here, you're going to need a repeater on 4 ticks, block up like that, redstone, block up, redstone, repeater on 1 tick, as well as redstone dust right there, which is powering the top pistons right here. Now what this redstone dust is also doing is it's powering this redstone lamp here, which is feeding into this observer right here. Now the observer down here is what does the double retraction, all thanks to redstone curling into pistons. So if I do this, there we go, redstone curls into the pistons when they get retracted up, and that's how it works. Now it's all weird because the redstone dust is missing from there, but as soon as I put that back, and as soon as I reset circuit, should be all good. So that's it. That's how to make Mumbo's spoon door in Minecraft Windows 10 Edition. If you liked, please be sure to leave a like and turn on notifications here and on Twitter to get notified when I upload. But that's all. This is Kerbin, out.